Hello, and welcome to the President's Update for June 2020. We're now entering Phase 2 of Responsible Restart Ohio. I want to say thank you for the great work that our team has done over the last few months, pivoting so hard, serving our learners so well, and we continue to adjust as we eventually reach our, quote, new normal, unquote. Some shout outs first for the team that put on the e-commencement activity and all the other work that we've done to help, for example, the great work with Amber and her team and Lana to help our students under the CARES Act. Another shout out to the Scholarship Committee for doing absolutely outstanding work. And then our digital scholarship evening. If you did not watch, we do have a link here, and I really appreciate our student speaker who was the star of the show. Some budget news. I know that finances are usually a source of nervousness for a lot of people. And as you recall back in March, just a few days after the emergency, I was really clear. We pay normal hours for normal work, and we're going to continue to do that. And we made that commitment through June 30th. And we're happy to report that the 1920 budget will finish within the boundaries the board has given us. Now, that requires a little bit of help from the CARES Act. It also requires, we got a rebate from the Ohio Workers' Comp, and Robin and the foundation, they've gotten some paycheck protection money as well. So as we move into the 2021 budget, we have a pretty steep projected cut in SSI, but enrollments will probably be about even. So we're going to work through that budget. It's at the upcoming board meeting, and we expect to be able to continue as we did through the pandemic so far, paying people for normal work. And if that in any way, shape, or form would change, I'll give you plenty of notice and we'll talk about it. But right now, we're doing very well. Phase 2, that's the biggest part of this communication. And I really appreciate all the teams. Dan took lead on this particular Phase 2, June 1, Responsible Restart Ohio, using all the guidelines that we've been given. Some overview points: remote ops still preferred. I am working at home. I don't come in all that often. What work I can do from my house, I do from my house. It is our preferred operating mode. The other is we are in our summer hours, just like we have been the last few summers, and typically our building is not open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have announced under Phase 2 that we plan to have our face-to-face classes using our guidelines starting for the fall. So what is Phase 2? Well, for spring 2020, 95% of our students, our learners, completed on time by May 9th. And we'll get that number to 99% by finishing our incompletes. A few of the really technical classes have been moved to this summer. We do plan summer classes. We're in them now, mostly remote, but there are some face-to-face activities that are scheduled. We do have, and I'll show the announcement later, summer camps that use the day camp guidelines. Our fitness center is now available, again, using the gym guidelines. The bookstore is using retail sales guidelines, and our food services are using the restaurant guidelines. And we should see higher education guidelines very soon. Some general rules of thumb: no more than 30 in any one space. If we are, that's going to require a cabinet kind of look-see to make sure we're doing things well. And in smaller spaces, that number will be less. In terms of people, I'll repeat what I said before: on campus when necessary. We're learning our ability to do work. Also, vulnerable team members, if you at any time feel unsafe or feel a need to have a chat, please reach out to HR. They've been absolutely wonderful about making accommodations. Some other things. You might ask, what's that phase 2 look like for me? Well, we don't want everybody coming to work at the same time or in the same entrance. So it's very much about a staggered entry. It's a self check-in, and there's a picture here of a machine that we are road testing right now. We do require that our team members wear face coverings. We're expecting our learners to do the same. We practice good distancing, we practice good hygiene, and we clean and deep clean. These are the pillars to which we stay safe. Now, some upcoming events. Really appreciate hashtag Ohio Leads. Starts June 1st. I'll do the welcome, and lots of other great things will happen. Self-care. Self-care is still important. So here are some self-care activities. Mike Jacobs is doing Meditation Mondays, one available on June 1, 8, and 15. Brittany and the team in HR, June 4th, we're having another virtual lunch together. Over 40 came to the first one, really liked it. We do have an NSCC board meeting coming up on June 19th. We've already talked to the executive committee and we'll be passing our 2021 budget. We do plan, as I mentioned earlier, to announce summer camps using guidelines should happen in July. And now this is an interesting one if you've seen it in the news. Ohio has an adult high school diploma program, but they only provide about $1.5 million for the entire state. And the money for the last few years ran out, leaving many students in our area. About 10% of our families have someone without their first degree. So we've signed a contract with Graduation Alliance, and we are scholarshiping up to 30 students so that we can get people to the next part of their educational journey. And the other news is right now, as many of you see, Ohio has a record 1.2 million unemployed. And we know that several of them not going to make it back to a job because that company, that particular industry is suffering. So unemployment and unemployed can now use tech credit. And we're also going to be doing some other works with Ohio Jobs and Family Services. So our pivot and turn for the fall and spring is get people decent jobs. Well, that's all I've got. And I really appreciate the great work our team is doing. So proud of how we've managed to take what's come, turn it into something great, and continue to serve our learners and their families well. So on behalf of the cabinet, I would say thank you, and thank you.